So
Me
apologies.
single time, and now I can't go live on Instagram for whatever reason. And so,
See
hello
what
everybody.
I mean?
How is everyone's day going? Mark is the most unreliable business partner I've ever had. He's also my only, so I don't have much to compare to. But
You
you
know,
know,
he knows without me he'd be like,
all right, all right. Now you're pushing it. Welcome back to Hit It Where It Hurts, everyone. Hey Sonia, hey guys, glad to see you again. Just wanted to pop in, say hello, and have a great night. Thank you so much, Sonia. Really appreciate it. You have a great night too. Let's talk about some
ooh.
interesting things today. What are we talking about today?
So today's topic, guys, is Sonia said something in the chat. You see?
Yeah, I just addressed it.
Oh, okay.
You say something
It
else?
just popped up for me. It just popped up for me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So today's topic is we're talking about the ideal audience that you have and what platform you should really be focusing on, depending on the audience that you're targeting.
Okay, we're on Instagram. Yep,
Are we on? All right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like always, people are asking, like, where are my customers? So we've already gone through that process of talking about your ideal audience. If you missed out on that episode, go back. But basically, all we said was think about who actually benefits from your product or service, who is actually going to be there watching your product or service, right?
Yeah.
And who's going to be using it. So that part's done. Now, where are you going to find them? Where are you? So you've identified your ideal audience. You know who they are. Like, let's just say they're kids, they're
Yeah.
adults, they're small business owners, they're pharmacies, they're whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
Like what so where will they be? Like, where is their attention going to go, right? Because I posted a status today and I post these daily quotes and then I write the art and then we do the podcast about them. But I said, like, if you don't not listening and not knowing where your attention is going, you can't execute properly, right?
Mhm.
And which is why we do like so many episodes on failure and like how sometimes failing is good because it teaches you stuff. Because the context of a failed marketing scheme is maybe that you're marketing to the wrong people. Let me give you an example. If you're a meat factory, right, and you're campaigning to vegans, you're not going to get, it could be the best marketing strategy in the world, but you're not going to get shit, right? And so I think that's the most important thing, that you understand that not every marketing strategy fails because, you know, maybe the marketing scheme is wrong or whatever. Sometimes it's who you're advertising to. If it doesn't interest them, they're not going to press it, right? If it's not something that's going to change their life, they don't care, right? And I think that's the most important thing. All right, let me just check the Instagram stream. Make sure
I think it's kind of stopped.
Okay, all right, yeah, continue.
But touching on to that, a lot of people go into this, like, start their businesses and stuff, and always think that, oh, like, should I focus on one, like, platform such as Instagram, or should I focus on Facebook, or should I focus on LinkedIn? But it's not really all about that. Like, your audiences are not only on one platform, right? They're all over. When you're focusing on one platform, look at it this way: you're focusing on it, putting 100% into it, and then boom, it becomes the next MySpace, and it's out of the picture, and you just lost everything that you've worked for over the past X amount of time. So what you gotta do is, like, you gotta find that audience, find the balance between those platforms, and then distribute your content throughout all of them.
For sure. And like, each platform is important for something, right? TikTok's really important for short form content. Instagram, really important for adaptive content. So what your business, like the business, it all links together. The content that you produce for your business will be linked more specifically to one platform than another. That doesn't mean it can't be adapted, but also the type of content that you post and where you post it matters, right? Just generalizing now, Gary Vee talks about Facebook and how you're going to find a lot of old people on Facebook, right? Like lots of oldies, lots of boomers, right? And like, if we look around, bro, like go to 9 News Melbourne and go look at the comments. There's a lot of oldies, right? So Facebook has generated into that kind of old platform now. It's for the oldies, right? Instagram is the kind of new shit, and TikTok. But it's not only talking about age, it's not only talking about interest. We're talking about who are you actually advertising. Let me give an example. On LinkedIn is actually better for business to business, in my opinion, because you're not going to find the CEO of a business anywhere else except on LinkedIn. You're not going to personally message him on Facebook. That's fucking weird.
No, not
right?
really.
Why?
Because even if you message him on LinkedIn, like, there's 1 in a million chance he's gonna respond. It's all the same thing.
It's true, but the connection and like the way to actually connect with higher ups is actually a lot easier on LinkedIn than it is on other things. I mean, what other CEOs do you know making TikToks other than the Udi CEO? Name one. I'll be waiting. Other than Gary Vee. Other than
Bro,
Gary Vee.
there's so many cats.
There's not that many. There's not that many. Of multi-million-dollar industries, there's not that many.
Yeah, but like Jeff Bezos, Jeff Bezos is not gonna make TikToks, guys. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Why would
but
he
I'm
make
saying,
TikTok?
But I'm saying if he did, yeah, he's not. He's gonna be on LinkedIn. Exactly. You just proved my point. He's gonna be on LinkedIn.
What's he doing on LinkedIn? Let's see. Is he actually on LinkedIn?
I'll check right now, bro. I'm telling you, if Jeff Bezos doesn't have a LinkedIn, I'll eat my own foot today. Today, I'll eat my own foot. I promise. Watch. Jeff Bezos, bang, he's on LinkedIn.
Is he?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
I win. Anyway,
he's not.
He is.
He's not. It's literally a fake account of just Jeff Bezos.
All right, Mark can't accept defeat. Anyway, guys, listen.
No, it's real, but because look at it this way, right? Like Gary Vee and the Udi guy, their whole brand is built on social media, on an online presence. Even though Amazon is an online presence, yeah, but they have people that they pay to put all that, and like Jeff Bezos, he's always in the news articles, in this, in that, in that. He's all over headlines, so he doesn't need to make a TikTok to boost his like.
But I'm not saying he needs to make a TikTok. I'm saying you're gonna likely find him on LinkedIn as opposed to finding him on TikTok. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but like, if you're a startup, if you're a startup,
yeah,
what would you want to do with those kind of people? Like, how are you gonna connect with them?
Are you kidding me? So, okay, I'll actually give an actionable plan for anyone that is starting. Let's just say like a social media course, like a social media managing thing like us. Let me tell you the best fucking steps to actually get to a CEO of a company. All right. Go to that LinkedIn CEO. Firstly, send them a connection and personalize your message as well. Make sure it's long, interesting, and brings value. All right. Then if you can't get through to him, go to his secretary and then go to the workers and then make content that is specific that would actually assist their business. And that's how you get in contact. And you won't be able to do that on any other platform.
I have it. Yes, you can.
About that.
Yes, you can. Gary Vee's done it, bro. Gary Vee closed a $10 million deal through Twitter. Through going to the person he was going for, and then just engaging with his tweets by commenting instead of like pitching a sale. He'd say, "Oh, that's a good idea. Is that why don't we have a chat about
it?" I'd say Twitter is similar in that it's good for business to business.
No, really. No, really. Look at it. It's mostly
LinkedIn.
I don't know. I'd have to disagree to agree to that.
I mean, okay, Twitter is like the adapted version of LinkedIn in a way because Twitter has that formal higher end people on there.
Yeah,
but then it also is modernized in a way because everyone has Twitter. Everyone tweets, right? Yeah. The most famous rappers tweet.
Yeah.
But the main point that we want to get across is that for business to business, because obviously there's going to be a focus. Either your brand is going to be helping consumers, or it's going to be helping businesses, or it's going to help both. In my personal opinion, as opposed to my business partner who's late to every podcast, I think business to business marketing is better done on LinkedIn than any other business, any other thing. You're going to find more businesses, and depends what type of business. If you want like higher end businesses, you're gonna find them on LinkedIn.
But we're talking LinkedIn business to business as in attracting investors, not as in finding consumers. Because most people on there, let's be honest, most people on there are trying to find jobs. A lot of people are there with their resumes looking for jobs at these higher up companies, which you're right. Like a lot of these high companies are on LinkedIn and people are on there trying to find a job through there. So if you're trying to make sales, you like what kind of business do you have to make sales on LinkedIn? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so like let's talk about like construction companies looking for contract. I think big contracts, you know.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Big contracts. I'd have to say like if you're managing big businesses, like if you want to manage a big business, I would go on. If I was someone who wanted to be a manager of a big business, or want to, like, for example, you want to learn off someone, you want to do free work, right? What I would do is I would go on LinkedIn and I'd connect to every single person they're connected to that's relevant, so you can move your way up. And I'd also write articles relevant to that person, right? Yeah. And then like not exactly mentioning his name, but indirectly marketing to him. This is actually a real strategy. So that's the way I would look at it. I mean, for most businesses, it's not practical.
What if you had a startup and like you're not trying to be a manager at a company, you just want to get them to invest? How would you go on doing that?
It depends what your ideal audience are. If you're talking about if you want investors, I'd say Facebook groups are really good. I think you can find an investor in a Facebook group. It depends which face. I mean, you got to give me context.
You can't go to like the Craigman buy and sell to find investors.
All right, wait. Let me just address the comments real quick. You never interrupted. Thank you so much for coming, Sonia. Aguer said, where do you guys think Instagram ranks in terms of best platforms for businesses? Like I said, it depends where you're marketing. If I was to rank Instagram, I think I'd put TikTok at the top and Instagram right under it. That's where I'd go. That's
I
where
don't
I'd
know.
go.
For me, it's TikTok, LinkedIn for organic growth, Facebook for paid advertising.
Agreed.
Instagram is like the app where like Facebook bought it and forgot to put like enough what do you call it, like enough like thing into
enough
it, like
resources into it to make it worth putting
to make
money
it better,
into.
to make it better. Yeah. It's like they bought it and forgot about it. They made it just like a side thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
Yeah.
And I'd say Clubhouse is on the come up as well, but it depends what business. Like, let me just personalize it to the person asking. He runs a clothing brand. If I was running a clothing brand, I'd focus on Instagram and TikTok. If you're looking for people to invest in your clothing brand, I'd go into LinkedIn. If you want to talk about building your clothing brand and expanding it internationally, I'd go on Clubhouse, right? It depends thing, but that's for that's for growing a business, right? But let's take it back to actually finding your audience. Where are your people going? Where for us, where are our small, because we're going to obviously target small business owners, influencers, affiliate marketers, all those types of things. Where are they going to be, right? And honestly, like, let's be honest here, majority of them were on Clubhouse, right? Found lots of people on Clubhouse, made lots of connections on Clubhouse. Clubhouse has personally been the best resource for us thus far, right?
100%, bro.
But I'd say LinkedIn is really good for making connections that lead to like Clubhouse rooms and stuff. So for us, like, luckily we're a social media team, so we could cross all platforms. But we've really been finding really good worth in Clubhouse and in LinkedIn, I think, and Facebook as well. And I think what people need to understand is it's not about covering all platforms equally, right? It's good to have a presence on each platform, but it's good to emphasize who you're targeting on each platform. For example, an ad that you run on TikTok is not the same ad that you'd run on Facebook, right? Because Facebook is going to be a different type of people that they'd be on TikTok. Like, if you want to look at like social media marketers, for example, the main thing that they do, right, is that they'll make an ad and then they'll adapt it for each platform, right? Because each platform is different in what audience will see it. So that's the best way to go about it. Do you want to?
Aguer said, do you think a company can succeed without investors, or are they a big part of success for small businesses? Let's be honest. Like, if you're, let's talk about you. You're starting a clothing brand. You don't really need investors. I've seen a lot of clothing brands come from zero. They're big, bro, from just advertising on TikTok. From like, in a way, like they're just showing what they're all about on TikTok, and they're getting all these orders. They go on big overnight, and you just gotta take action to do that. So, look at what do you call it? Gymshark, yeah. Man started from his dorm room, bro. Literally, went to $1 billion clothing brand without any investors. All you gotta do is take action. But if you're talking about, like, say a startup which needs investors, say for example Afterpay. They created the software, but they needed investors in order to distribute it, to get the word out, to put it into big markets, like say for example Nike, Adidas, all those big companies.
100%.
So that's where when you get investors, that's what your investors are for, not only for the money but for the distribution of your product. But like, like for the clothing brand part that you're doing, Aguer, I wouldn't really say investors will play a big part in your like journey, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so just for everyone just tuning in, we had a question. Do you think a company can succeed without investors, or are they a big part of success for small businesses? Now, let me say this. Unless your business is actually dependent on an investor, which is very rare that a business is dependent on a big investment to start. Most businesses can start from nothing, right?
100%.
But if your business is dependent, yes, it is a big part. But for majority of people watching this, I could say this clearly, you do not need an investor to start your small business. And it's not a big part. And I would even go further in saying that people struggle with finding their ideal audience because they're so busy looking for investors. How many people do we know on Clubhouse, right? Not naming names. How many people do we know on Clubhouse who come on and pitch their ideas to investors every single day? And it's like a casual idea, something that me and you can come up with. Like, good for them for executing. No worries. Like, but that's not how you go about it. You have to build a following first. You have to target who is actually your brand going to help, right? And investors don't care if you don't have that figured out. They don't care, right?
Yeah.
Unless your idea is literally specific and it's like international and that type of thing, then go for it. And you can even add it, right? Like you could not invest, like not go to investors at first and then do it afterwards as like a side thing. That's fine, right? That's fine. But when you're focusing on it, that's when you start to go wrong. That's when you're missing opportunity to get people who really connect with your brand and will actually build it up.
100%. Now let's go back to the topic of targeting audience. Again, say if your audience is like what, like say, all right, we'll do Aguero.
Yeah.
Now you have a clothing brand. Tell us, what is it like? What's your clothing brand about?
Yeah, what's your clothing brand about? And yeah.
Well,
we can't really answer the question.
I think it's the Kakashi Uzi. What was it again? Kakashi Uzi.
Kakashi Uzi.
Yeah,
we can't say it, bro.
Yeah, it's something like that. Anyways,
let's just say it's streetwear. Let's say it's streetwear.
So Aguero's brand is all streetwear for the people that I don't know. So for you, what I would do is I'd straight away like create some samples, get them in, go on TikTok, start showing your samples, or like, for example, like start giving them away to people and like record the reactions of what they think of your product and shit like that.
Can I just go into how to show it? Because we don't want to give the wrong advice. We don't want to give people the advice that they should just go on TikTok and advertise their brand right from the start to the end. I've seen it. I've seen literal makeup brands, literally just TikToks of makeup, like, and they get like 50 views each, right? It's not how you go about it. You have to show what life is like with that brand. Emit a vision into your consumer's mind on TikTok. That's scrolling. That's one, going to stop them from scrolling. Two, going to bring value to them. And three, show them what life they're living when they buy from your brand. Okay, that's really important. Don't force advertisement on TikTok. You will not succeed. I'm telling you this.
Do it through storytelling. If the people that you're showing your product to see a story coming from behind it, like that way they're gonna feel the emotional connection to your brand, because that's the main point. What you got to do, you got to get that emotional point to your brand, and that will attract the people in. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And like if I was like, so to go off what Mark was saying, go on TikTok, do it the way I said it, right? Exactly what Mark was saying. I just explained it a bit deeper. And also look for people willing to promote your brand. I mean, think about it this way, right? If you believe that your shirt is nice and other people will see that you believe in it through your storytelling on TikTok, people are going to want to support it. Start messaging influencers, 50 of them a day, right? Start messaging them, ask them to promote it. And in turn, you shout out their thing, right? And
just to be clear about messaging influencers, you don't have to be messaging people that are well off, like people with like hundreds of thousands of followers who are famous. Is that message people based on their engagement rate? So people that have like even 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, 3,000 followers, message them, be like, hey guys, I'm gonna send you a product of mine, hope you like it. If you like it, please share it on your story, tell your friends about it. That way, that word of mouth, like through social media, there's that people are gonna slowly know about you, and it's not really costing you much, just the cost of your product that you've already manufactured through your like manufacturing costs and shit. That's it.
100%. And let me give it a little bit of an example of what like someone like Aguero would run into, right, when starting your clothing brand. Now you start to advertise, and you're like advertising on Facebook and like the Craigieburn buy sell group, right? Like you're advertising something like that, and it's like a really good advertisement too. Like that's put for streetwear and like a little bit of let's just say a little bit of gangster shit, you know, like it's pretty like blinged out, whatever, and it doesn't do well. That doesn't mean that your marketing was bad. It means where you put it is bad. That's why knowing where your customers are going to be, like we can already know straight away. The minute we hear clothing, streetwear, trendy, we know it's going to be TikTok, right? We know it's going to be Instagram. We know that because we know that the audience that are going to be wearing those clothes are going to be on TikTok and Instagram. Doesn't mean you can't advertise on all platforms. Again, I want to emphasize, have a presence on all platforms. Reach is important. Numbers add up. If you're getting 50 here, 50 here, 50 here, 50 here, but then you get 300 there, you should still put into the 50. It just means the 300 you should focus on, because that's where you're going to be your ideal audience, right? Like I said, you don't want to advertise meat to a vegan, okay? Constantly think of that when you're advertising.
Maybe try to move him to the other side,
maybe try it. Maybe give him... No, okay, we're going to get cancelled. Let me read this. thoughts on pre-advertising. I heard a successful launch includes a lot of pre-advertising on closed websites. People usually lock the website with the timer and stuff and build hype, for sure. But I think with pre-advertising, sometimes people rely on it too much, right? It's a very big hit or miss type of thing. If you come out of the closet like that, I don't think you have a lot of backing to guarantee that it's going to be a big launch.
Yeah.
But if you build a little bit of a following, like that clothing brand in Sunshine Gold Coast, you remember, we see it on our FYP all the time. I don't know. Anyway, well, they built their brand off that. Like they started their story. They even showed us how they rented the garage where they made the clothes, right? And then they did what Johan's talking about, which is pre-advertising, putting it on closed website and then locking the website with the timer, because that's going to build hype, right?
Yeah, like you got to be well known to do that. Like if you're not well known, like if you're like for example, like Mark's saying, like if you're doing the advertisements and shit like that before it's open, you're trying to hype it up, this that, yeah, that's gonna get some people interested. But then the people who don't really know like what this brand is, who are the like first time seeing it, they're gonna be like, no, we're not really gonna be bothered with this. Like they're not gonna come back. So what you got to do is really build an online presence like we talked about in the last episode. When that's established, then people are going to know your brand. So when you're trying to hype it up with the limited time, with all this call to action and shit like that, that's going to make people come. That's going to make people hype. Like look at the Nog Boys, right? The Nog Boys do the call to action all the time. They cause that hype. Like clothes are going to be sold in seconds. Is that? They have people lined up on their website, like 50 to 100,000 people lined up on their websites days before the launch. So see what I mean by that? Like you gotta like build your brand, know who your audience are, and then push it towards them, and that way you're like reeling them in like fishes. You know what I mean? Like you're fishing for themselves.
100%. And like remember, we don't want to skip important steps. We just don't want to repeat it because we've done episodes on it. But you have to identify who your ideal audience are first. Now we're talking about the step after that. Once you identify where are they going to be going? Where are they spending most of their time? Where are they? Who are your competitors as well, right? If you follow your competitors and they're like very, very similar to you, then you can quickly track, because they've already built up a customer base. You're new. You steal that information from them, right? You go to their page, you look through every single profile. Like if it's Instagram, go through every single profile, look at their interests, right? Look where the attention is going. Where the attention is going is where the market will go. If you don't know that, then you can't actually find your ideal audience. And the reason why this is such an important point is because businesses give up so early. Because, bro, you could have $1 million idea, but you're advertising to the wrong fucking people. So that's why I'm saying this part, don't overlook this step, right? This podcast is about helping people through the struggling points, right? Like the points where you feel lost, you feel stuck. If I was to put $1,000 into my own advertising, right? And I was just a normal small business owner, didn't know anything about social media, right? And I told whoever was doing it to like, make it a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And then I advertised it in the wrong place and I get no ROI. Obviously it's going to be disheartening. It's going to be like, wow, like no one really cares about my shit. So that's why I remember the steps. Find your ideal audience, know who they are, find out where they go, which platform are you going to be focusing more your advertising on, and then execute.
And also at the end of the day, look at it this way. If you're not doing your advertising right, you're not going to reach the right people.
100%.
So first what you got to do is, if you know your audience, now that's out of the thing. You already know your audience. So now what's the next step? The next step is to go actually learn how to target those audience, to know like what's going to catch the attention of those audience. Because look, like we talk about attention spans and shit like that through Instagram, through like all platforms. You got to know what the 3 seconds of your brand is going to be the eye-catching phrase, or like the video that's going to attract your audience. So you got to work on that 3 seconds. So that 3 seconds is what's going to catch your audience to come in. So if you know your audience, now know what's the 3 seconds that I can do to show my audience that I'm worthy of. You know what I mean?
We have a bit of a problem. I scheduled my pizza for 9 p.m. and we started late. So I'm waiting for this guy to come, and then I don't know how I'm going to give him the money. Anyway, all right. Yeah. So
is he here?
That's he will be in 3 minutes.
Tell him, come on, hit it where it hurts.
Literally. No, but yeah, for real, like this is a really important point. And we've seen people get really disheartened from it. And that's why, like, guys, our DMs are open, right? You don't have to get our services to get assistance from us. You DM us asking for help, we're gonna help you out. Yeah, like that's what we're here for. We're here for everyone chasing their dream and getting stuck at those points, because obviously we would have went through it if we hadn't have studied it before. Would have been horrible for us, you know. And I can imagine how horrible it is for anyone else. But I don't want to really repeat myself. So is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Honestly, I think we've covered the whole thing,
I
bro.
think we covered the whole thing really well.
Again.
Like all that's left is for you guys to execute. Yeah, like we've pretty much made it very simple how actionable it is, and might not work the first time, might not work the second time, might not work the third time. And you could do as much research as you want, but until you actually experiment in where you're advertising, you're not going to be able to help yourself. You have to experiment. You have to take an L. You have to contextualize those L's, right? Put context as to why people aren't clicking on your shit. Is it that it's not eye-catching? Is it that it's the wrong people? I'm using the 5 lines. Is that it's the wrong people you're advertising to, right? Is it that your message isn't coming across? And once you do that, then you can constantly adapt your advertising to the point where you know what you're doing. And then if you still need help after that, come through.
And like at the end of the day, like it's all about taking action. And if you're taking action, then you're gonna see results. Like don't be quitting after like one ad or one video that you're gonna post and you see like no engagement, or like you're like, shit, like I'm just getting all these randoms. Is that like who are really my audience? Like you will figure it out through posting, through trial and error, and just keep going at it. But
for sure. And yeah, just before we wrap up, I just put the sign up sheet in all the chats except Instagram. If you want to type 1 in the chat and I'll DM you personally. Thank you guys so much for what. Did you want to have anything else, or
all done, mate?
We're all good. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, we're here to help. We're here to assist you guys through your pain points. Thank you so much for coming every single day. We're live every single night at 8:30 p.m. except for Thursday at 10 p.m. We have a special guest coming on. Make sure you don't want to miss that. The sign up sheet means that we will shout out a business at the end of every single Hit It Where It Hurts episode. And if you want your business to get signed up, go sign up. It's only a name and an email, and it's